All right, guys, always good to have our friends back on the air with us. And it's good to have Dr. Veronica back with us today. And first off, Dr. V, great to visit with you, my friend.
Here you again, Cameron. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing a little better day by day.
That's good to hear.
I was looking through some of the ideas, some talking points, and one of the ones here, especially for people that are going through life issues, that they talk about their hearts. And one note I saw said, love yourself into health. And sometimes that's pretty hard, isn't it?
Yeah, gosh, that's an interesting topic you've picked today. We should have kept that one for Valentine's Day, but then I guess every day should be Valentine's Day. I don't know if Valentine's Day is a big thing where you are, but of course the UK like to go with it. I guess anything they can make into a commercial topic for
Of course.
is good. But there are some parts of St. Valentine who are actually buried in Glasgow, where I'm from. Did you know that?
I did not.
It's the city of romance. Not just Venice. So the heart, love yourself into health. Where shall we start? The heart is not just a pump. It's not just an electrical circuit board. It actually has its own brain. It has 40,000 at least brain cells therein. And it's actually a vortex. I could talk about the heart all day and all night. In our clinic, we had a recent workshop around heart math. We had our consultant cardiologist, a professor of cardiology in, and myself and Gavin Andrews, who is the UK heart math contact. And we had a wonderful discussion evening all about the heart and love. So I don't know where you want to start about that, but if you have any specific questions, fire away.
I'm at that age now, early 50s, where you start having to be concerned about certain things. The heart is always one of those that they want you to have extra special attention paid to it. And you're always told, don't eat this, don't eat that, but that changes every 6 months. Is there something more reasonable that you can do on your own behalf to help avoid those issues?
That's a very interesting question because, yeah, you're right. It's good to be very proactive about our heart health and not wait until we have a heart attack or high blood pressure or some problem or other. And yeah, your conventional medicine states that there are drugs that can help lower your cholesterol levels and keep your risk of heart disease down. And, that getting regular EKGs or ECGs, as we call them, is a good idea, looking at your heart and having your heart examined. But there's so much more to it than that. The heart really is a mysterious and marvelous organ where it said your soul resides. So that's a whole other topic. But stress is the most common cause of dis-ease. And stress and raised cortisol can have a very negative effect on the body in general and cause a lot of inflammation and including plaque formation in the heart and in the arteries. And that's when they get blocked. And then when an artery gets blocked, then the muscle doesn't get a blood supply. And when the muscle doesn't get a blood supply, then you are officially having a heart attack or a myocardial infarction, as they call it. There are many eminent professors of cardiology you could invite on to talk about the academic challenges of treating heart disease. But I would like to look at heart disease in another way, not necessarily an alternative way, perhaps in an additional way. And that is, if we really take care of our heart, we're really taking care of ourselves and our soul. And if we look after ourselves and love ourselves enough, then we are at one with ourselves and we are healthy and well and whole and complete. And then everyone else would be the same. Just imagine a world where everyone was content and peaceful and looked after their own.
It'd never happen.
Right about them. I'm an eternal optimist. I would like to think so. So I like to teach patients, first of all, how to connect with themselves and how to get what's called heart coherence or heart-brain coherence. And I'm a great fan of heart math, and it's big in the US. You should look it up if you don't know much about it. But heart math is looking about how we can be still and have our heart be still and at peace and at rest, if you like, and not in a state of stress or fight or flight. So we have the autonomic nervous system, which has got the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And without getting too academic about it, you've either got your fight or flight, which is necessary if you need to run away from a speeding car or go to protect someone or run away from a tiger or whatever it is. So that's necessary, your fight or flight, but you also need your rest and relax. And that's when we repair cells. That's when we create, and that's when we regenerate our body. So we need a good balance of both of these. And really in the West, we don't have that because our fight or flight and our stress is on all the time. And we're producing far too much cortisol, which is not good for the heart. You also hear of people who die of a broken heart. So emotion and stress can cause the heart to stop working and to seize up and to have a blockage or to have a heart attack. So it's just a natural phenomenon that perhaps when a couple have been together in a partnership for 50 years or however long, and then one of them passes and the other one's left and their heart just stopped working. So that's the thing. I don't know why I'm laughing because it's really sad, but there's a lot that we can do to protect our heart and to look after ourselves. But you should look into heart math. It's very interesting. I'm happy to talk more about that if you like.
You talked about it, one of the parts being a muscle, and part of health is keeping the muscle active. So keeping your heart active, it doesn't have to all be walking, does it? Are there breathing exercises, things like that you can do to strengthen your heart?
Yeah. So keeping your heart active, there's no doubt about it that exercise is good for the body, good for the heart. And a brisk walk every day would be brilliant for that. But if you're talking about breathing exercises, we're back to the whole rest and relax versus fight or flight autonomic nervous system. Breathing exercises in particular, that's a whole other conversation, but part of that is activating something called the vagus nerve, one of the longest nerves in the body that supplies a lot of the organs, including the heart. And that's the parasympathetic or rest and relax part of our autonomic nervous system. And breathing activates the diaphragm, the big muscle that separates the chest from the abdomen, and it will also activate the vagus nerve. And when the body can really, truly breathe properly, then you know that the body feels safe and that you are relaxed and that you can slow down and start to dissolve any stress that's around you. So yes, breathing has a whole different role to play. And don't even get me started on oxygen and the breath. We can have a whole episode on that on its own. So yeah, there is much we can do. Yes, running, walking, eating healthily, all exercise, all of these things are great for the heart. But there is another level of how we care for ourselves. And I think staying in a state of peace, finding a positive emotion, putting a hand on your heart and breathing, fantastic. That just you can do it, just take 2 minutes. You can do it at the traffic lights when you're in your car. You can do it in the line when you're waiting for your groceries, or if anyone does that anymore, because most people get their groceries delivered because they don't leave their sofa. But that's another story. But yeah, if you connect with yourself and connect with your heart and aim to get some heart coherence, that will reduce stress mightily and reduce the cortisol levels that you produce unnecessarily. And that's a great way of keeping your heart healthy.
You brought something up there, the human interaction or lack thereof. How much do you think that plays a part in to some of those issues that folks are dealing with today that maybe we weren't dealing with, say, 15, 20 years ago?
That's a great point, Cameron. I think that plays a huge part. In fact, I did an article for a magazine over your neck of the woods recently, and they said, what's the question again? It was something like, what's the biggest thing that you would change to improve mental health, or what do people need to keep their mental health in a good state? And I said, actually, it's community, it's connection, it's being with one another. And you are absolutely right. We live in a world now where you can order anything to your door and they don't even have to ring the bell or knock on the door. They leave it on the doorstep. And you could spend weeks not leaving your house if you wanted to. And I think some people might indeed do that. But if we don't connect together as humans, then things really start to fall apart because we need community. We need to feel that we belong and we need to connect with one another. And that's so important.
That is right.
I live in a small village. I work in the city, but I live in a small village outside the city. It's got an absolutely fabulous community here. And in fact, I saw something on social media at lunchtime when I could have been out for a walk, but in fact, I was scrolling for 5 minutes. Very unhealthy thing to do. But I was scrolling and looking, and some of the locals were the elderly people. Somebody had made these bikes with 2 seats at the front. So the volunteers were taking people out on bike rides. So there were 2 elderly ladies with blankets on, grinning from ear to ear as they were at the front of this bike as they were cycling through the blossom trees in our village. It was very idyllic. It was lovely. So yeah, sense of community is so important.
That's right. And again, Dr. V, I always want to make sure and give our listeners an opportunity if they have questions or would like to find more information about all that you've got going on.
Oh, I'd be delighted to connect people, my clinic website is westbournemedicalstudios.com, and my new website's about to come out with me, which is drveronicamcburney.com. And I'd be really happy to meet you guys and to chat.
All right. Dr. V, it's always a privilege to have you on, and I look forward to catching up again real soon.
Thank you so much, Cameron. It's been great talking to you. See you soon.